If you've been thinking about Amazon influencer, but you're picturing some fancy studio, expensive camera, perfect lighting, and a background that looks like a home decor magazine came over and judged your life, let me calm you down right now. That's not what I'm doing. I film most of my Amazon influencer videos in a recliner, in my camper, with my iPhone, window light, and a tripod. That's it. No production crew, no studio, no fancy editing. In fact, I don't edit much at all. No dramatic intro with music that sounds like I'm about to reveal a spaceship. Just me, the product, my phone, and enough light for people to see what I'm talking about. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because I think a lot of people overcomplicate the Amazon influencer program before they can even get started. They think they need to buy all this equipment, pick some perfect niche, whatever, however you want to say that, learn editing, create a studio, and become some polished internet person overnight. No, ma'am. For Amazon shoppable videos, people are usually already on the product page. In fact, they kind of have to be there to see your video. They're not there because they're looking for a commercial. They're there because they're trying to decide if the thing in front of them is worth buying. They want to see the product. They want to hear from a real person. They want to know what it looks like, how it works, what you noticed, what surprised you, what you liked, and maybe what you wish had been different. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what I actually use to film Amazon influencer videos, what I think beginners don't need to spend money on, and the one thing I think matters more than fancy equipment. And if you're over 50 or you're just looking at online income and thinking, can somebody please explain this without making it weird? Go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Here on Valerie Creates It, we're talking about Amazon influencer, affiliate marketing, AI, Pinterest, YouTube, digital products, and building realistic income options without turning life into another full-time job. Now let's talk about the setup. I film with my iPhone 16 Pro. That's my camera. I'm not using some big complicated camera with settings I have to Google every time I touch it. I'm not changing lenses. I'm not white balancing anything unless the phone decides to be rude and make me look like I'm filming inside a pumpkin or something. But most of the time the phone is plenty. In fact, it never hasn't been enough. And honestly, if you're just getting started, I wouldn't run out and buy an expensive camera. Use the phone you have as long as it records clear video. Learn how to make it simple. All you need is useful videos. The camera is not the business. The video is not better because the equipment was expensive. A blurry, confusing video filmed on an expensive camera is still a blurry, confusing video. People need to see the product clearly. That's the point. I do use a tripod. That matters because nobody wants to watch a product video that looks like it was filmed during an earthquake. You don't need a fancy tripod. You just need something that holds the phone steady and lets you frame the shot so people can see your face and the product, unless you're doing faceless, but Amazon does like faces. So if at all possible, I would suggest you use your face, and it's not a big deal. A tripod also makes batching easier because once I have the phone set up, I'm not starting over every 5 minutes. I can sit down, get everything in place, and film several products without having to reinvent the wheel each time. Most of the time, I just use window light. Window light is free, and free is one of my favorite kinds of equipment. If I can sit near a window and get decent light on my face and the product, that's what I'm going to do. You do want enough light that people can actually see the product. If you're showing texture, color, size, buttons, labels, parts, fabric, or anything the shopper needs to understand, then light matters. But it doesn't have to look like a beauty commercial. It just has to be clear. If I'm filming at night or the light is not cooperating, there's a storm or something like that, I use a ring light. I don't use it because I'm trying to look like I'm hosting a morning show. I use it because sometimes the sun quits before I do, and I still need to get videos done. That's the level of fancy we're talking about. Phone, tripod, window light, ring light when needed. For audio, I usually just use the phone's audio. It's good enough. I do have a clip-on microphone, and I'm not against using one. A microphone can help if your room is echoey, if your air conditioner sounds like a jet preparing for takeoff, or if you're too far away from your phone. But for the way I usually film, the phone audio has usually been fine. The key is that people can understand you. They don't need a podcast studio. They just need to hear what you're saying without straining. So if you're starting from scratch, I wouldn't make audio complicated. Start with what you have. Film a test video. Play it back. If you can hear yourself clearly, you may not need anything else yet. Now let's talk about where I film, because this is where people sometimes make themselves crazy. I tend to film right here in my recliner in my camper. That may not sound glamorous, but it works. We live in our camper, so very convenient. And that's the point. I'm not filming these videos for an interior design contest. I'm filming product videos for shoppers who are already looking at that product. They're already on that product page. So, they're thinking about buying it anyway. So, they just want to learn more. They want to know about the item. They want to see the item. They want a real person's take on the item. They're not sitting there saying, well, I would have trusted her opinion, but she didn't appear to be in a professionally staged studio with a fiddle leaf fig in the background. People want useful. They want real. They want clear. That's all I'm aiming for. And because I film a variety of products, I don't worry too much about having one tight niche or niche for Amazon shoppable videos. That's something I think beginners misunderstand. For regular YouTube, yes, niche matters a lot more because people are subscribing to you and your topic. But Amazon shoppable videos are different. People are often finding your video because they're already on a specific product page. They're looking at that product already. And your video may show up there to help them make that decision of whether to buy or not. So for Amazon Influencer, I film what I can get samples for. That means I may film household items, beauty products, pet products, gadgets, outdoor items, random useful things, or whatever else makes sense. I'm not trying to make every single product fit into one tiny category. I'm trying to create helpful videos for shoppers who are already considering that item. And that's an important distinction. For these product page videos, the product is the star. Not my outfit, not my background, not a 10-minute story about how I discovered the item during a spiritual awakening in aisle 7. The product. That's why I usually hold the product up right here while I'm talking. I hold it up beside my face. People clicked because they want to see it. So I show it. I turn it around. I point out parts that matter. I talk about what I noticed. I try to answer the questions I'd have if I were the shopper. What does it look like in real life? How big is it? How does it feel? Does it seem easy to use? Is anything confusing? What stood out? What would I want to know before buying it? That's the kind of information people are usually looking for. And this is also why I don't spend a lot of time editing. I know editing has its place. I'm not saying editing is bad, but for my Amazon influencer videos, I don't edit at all most of the time. I try to film it cleanly and upload it because I make money getting helpful videos uploaded. I don't make money turning every product into a tiny documentary. That sentence right there is important. If you're spending 3 hours editing one short Amazon video, you may be slowing yourself down. In fact, I know you are. At least for the kind of videos I'm doing, simple and useful beats perfect and unpublished. Now, do I script? Yes, I do. Not everyone has to. Some people are great at picking up a product and just talking naturally without forgetting half the important details. Good for them. I hope they enjoy their fully functioning memory and peaceful nervous system. I am not always that person. I like a script because it helps me remember the details I need to include. It keeps me from wandering off into the weeds. It helps me stay focused on the product instead of suddenly telling a story about something that happened in 1994. But your script doesn't have to be formal. It could just be bullet points. It could be a short outline. It could be a few notes about the features you want to mention, what you noticed, and what questions the shopper might have. I use ChatGPT to help me with the scripts, but I've also spent time teaching it what I can and can't say in Amazon content. That matters. When I use ChatGPT for scripts, I don't just ask it to write something cute and then read whatever it gives me. I've had to teach it the guardrails for Amazon content, and sometimes I still have to fuss at it when it makes mistakes. But Amazon has rules about what we can and can't say. You can't talk about pricing because when prices change a lot, and Amazon doesn't want that in their videos. I don't make health claims because you can't on Amazon, or they won't allow the video to be there. I don't make any guarantees, and I don't say things in a way that sound like I'm promising any kind of result. So AI can help me organize my thoughts, but I still have to be the grown-up in the room and make sure the script is clean, accurate, and allowed before I hit record. So AI can help, but you still need judgment. You can't just let AI write whatever it wants and then read it like a hostage note into your phone. You have to guide it. You have to know what kind of language is appropriate. You have to learn the rules. You have to make sure the video sounds like a human being and not like a product description got trapped in a blender somewhere. That's why I think scripts can help, especially for beginners. They don't have to make you sound stiff. They can actually make you more confident because you're not trying to remember everything while also holding the product, watching the camera, checking the light, and wondering if your hair is doing something strange. I also batch film. Batching has helped me because setting up takes mental energy. Once I'm in filming mode, I'd rather get several videos done than set everything up again tomorrow and have another long discussion with myself about whether I feel like it. So I tend to batch my scripts, then batch my filming. That doesn't mean I always do it perfectly. Let's not lie on the internet today, but that's the goal. I'll get several products ready. I'll have my scripts or notes ready. I'll set up the phone and the light. Then I'll film one after another while everything is already in place. That saves me time and it saves decision making. And if you're over 50, busy, tired, dealing with a business, family, pets, a house, or a brain that keeps opening new tabs without permission, saving decision making matters. Now let me say something else I think beginners need to hear. You don't need to buy a bunch of equipment before you know whether you're even going to do this consistently. Don't go buying cameras, lights, backdrops, microphones, editing software, props, and a whole filming corner before you've even applied or before you've filmed enough to know your rhythm. Start simple. That's the easiest thing to do and the cheapest thing to do. Use your phone if it's good enough, and most modern phones are good enough today. Use a window, use a tripod, use a clean enough background, hold the product up, say something useful, keep it moving. If later you decide you need better light, add a light. If later you decide your audio needs help, use a mic. If later you need a better filming space, improve it. But don't let equipment become the excuse that keeps you from starting. Because honestly, the equipment is not the hard part. The hard part is doing the videos. The hard part is not overthinking. The hard part is filming even when you feel awkward. The hard part is getting the product in your hand, hitting record, and saying something useful without turning the whole thing into a Broadway production. And that's where I think people our age sometimes have an advantage. We've used products, we've bought things, we've wasted money on stuff that didn't work, we've had opinions for decades, and some of us have been waiting for a socially acceptable place to express them. Well, congratulations. Amazon product videos may be your moment. You don't have to be 23 and trendy to talk about whether a kitchen gadget is useful. You don't have to be techie to show how a storage container opens. You don't have to have a studio to explain what you liked about a lamp, a pet product, a planner, a shirt, a garden tool, or a little gadget you actually use. You need to be clear. You need to be honest. You need to be helpful. That's the job. Now, I want to be careful here because I never want to make Amazon influencer sound guaranteed. It's not. Platforms change, earnings change. Some videos do better than others. Some products are worth filming. Some make you wonder why you even bothered. That's part of it. But for me, this has become a real income stream, and that's why I keep paying attention to it. It fits into the bigger thing I've been talking about lately, which is building income options after 50. Not because I want another job, not because I want a more complicated life, because I want income that at least has some chance of continuing after the first round is done. A product video I filmed earlier may still be out there helping a shopper later. That's different from a service appointment where the income is tied to that one appointment and then it's done. That difference matters to me. And if you're thinking about applying for the Amazon Influencer Program, or if you've been accepted but you're nervous about filming, I want you to hear this. Your setup does not have to be fancy. Your first videos do not have to be perfect. You don't need to spend a fortune before you begin. You need to start simple and get useful videos uploaded. That's the whole point. My basic setup is my iPhone 16 Pro, a tripod, window light when I can get it, a ring light when I need it, phone audio most of the time, and scripts so I don't forget what I'm trying to say. That's enough to start. And the thing that matters more than any piece of equipment is whether the video helps the shopper. Can they see the product? Can they hear you? Did you answer questions they might have? Did you show the item in a way that feels real? Did you avoid making claims you shouldn't make? Did you get the video uploaded instead of letting it sit in your phone forever? That's where the money has a chance to happen. Not in buying equipment, not in editing for 3 hours, not in making the perfect background. The opportunity is in creating useful videos and getting them published. That's the part you focus on first. Now, in an upcoming video, I want to talk more about how I keep all of this organized, because once you start filming a lot of products, your brain can't be the whole business system. Mine certainly can't. I use tools to keep track of the workflow, and we'll get into that because organization becomes a much bigger deal once you're doing this consistently. But today, I just wanted to take the pressure off the setup. If you've been waiting because you thought you needed a studio, you don't. If you've been waiting because you thought you needed fancy equipment, you don't. If you've been waiting because you thought product videos had to look like commercials, they don't. People are looking for a real person, showing them a real product and giving them useful information. That's it. So tell me in the comments, are you thinking about applying for the Amazon Influencer Program? Are you already accepted and nervous to start? Or are you just curious how this whole thing works? And if you want more of the real version of the Amazon Influencer Program after 50, like this video and subscribe. Because here on Valerie Creates It, we're learning modern income options after 50 without making it harder than it needs to be. Stay close, you're not done yet.